Hello everyone, and let's begin our vocabulary lesson with terms that are coming from the poems we're currently studying. Here's our first set of terms. Give yourselves an opportunity to copy down the words that you need. There are 6 on the page, and we're looking for a word that means crafty and clever. Think in terms of Jim Smiley's way of winning with his mare and with his dog, Andrew Jackson. Cunning would be the word we're looking for. Let's make this crafty, sly. Clever. If you've ever referred to someone as being corrupt or degraded, we could say, like Captain Ahab's soul might be this, because he refuses to search for the lost sailor in order to pursue Moby Dick instead. When he comes across the other boat, that could be considered degenerate. Degenerate is degraded or corrupted. In a Wagner matinee, if you remember the colors of all the different outfits on the women, the colors were like an artist's palette. There was a vast array, and when something is arrayed, it is arranged in an order. There were colors of the rainbow arrayed throughout the audience at a Wagner matinee. We see the root word assign here. I think this appears in I Heard a Fly Buzz When I Died. Anything that's assignable is able to be transferred to another. In Because I Could Not Stop for Death, the speaker talks about a cornice, which is a projection, something that was sticking out of the earth in that case. A cornice can be a decorative molding. Along the top of a building. And lastly, our final word, dominion. I think most of you know that dominion means supreme authority. He was given dominion over all of the children on the island. He was given command. Okay, here is our next list of terms, and everybody knows that a fuse could be something to do with electricity, but when things are fused together, we mean that they melt and blend together. If you go back for a moment to the red wheelbarrow, you'll notice that it says glazed with rainwater, which means that the sun must have come out. Something that is glazed is covered with some kind of smooth or shiny coat. A glaze, a coating, or a finish. With regard to clothing, if you're talking about some kind of fabric that's very light and almost like gauze, we could call it gossamer. Like the strands of a web, a spider's web, is gossamer. A light, gauze-like fabric. Whenever Richard Cory went downtown, he fluttered pulses. That is to move with quick, wavering motions. Wavering or flapping motions. If you say that your pulse fluttered, you're saying that, you're kind of losing a beat. Motions. Oh, sorry about that. That's supposed to be motions. Anything that is darkish in color can be called dusky. And all of us have heard the word immortality before, eternity, the ability to live forever. Okay, moving right along, we have a word for messy, and that's slovenly. It means anything that's untidy. sloppy. If you go back to Gatsby for a moment, when he says, of course you can repeat the past, notice that the pathway was strewn with fruit rinds, signs that time had already passed. The rind is the thick coating, the thick outer coating. Or covering. As in, certain fruits, or cheeses even, or meats. This is a word that denotes royalty. Anything that is imperially referenced means something that is of the nature or rank of royalty, or an emperor, or a supreme power. If you take something for medicinal purposes, you're taking it for curative purposes. You're trying to heal yourself. Curative, remedial. Think about the speaker who was in a state of repose, or even the character in using stream of consciousness with Granny Weatherall. She was fighting off the state of repose. Repose is the state of rest, or the state of being at peace. And if you think about somebody who's rambling on, you're wandering around. Maybe Tom Walker was rambling around, taking that shortcut, wasn't really frightened at all, wandering around in a leisurely manner. Your conversation can ramble along too, like Simon Wheeler, in a leisurely or aimless manner. Okay, great. Along our last set of words, tippet, tulle, and wanton. Both of these have to do with fabrics or clothing. A tippet is a scarf for the neck and shoulders. Very often a tippet will have loose ends that hang down, and tulle is a fine netting used in scarves and in veils. And then lastly, wanton is something that is done deliberately, without motive, something that is uncalled for. And we can also use wanton to denote someone who's a bit too loose, a bit too promiscuous. Right? And there you have it, the words from poetry.